Wikipedia is a strange place, and you're gonna see all that strangeness in this video. We're gonna cover about 10 topics, 10 strange articles. So the Tylenol murders were murders done with Tylenol. So in 1982, some person decided to put lots of laced cyanide into Tylenol capsules. And when these capsules would go back home and parents would give their kids a Tylenol, the kids would not be cured of the cold. Instead, they would die. And lots of these kids would die, adults would die from this cyanide-laced Tylenol, and, well, it caused a huge controversy. People lost trust in Tylenol, and they lost millions of dollars. The response of Tylenol is, of course, to say sorry, and they would also add a new feature, which is the anti-tamper device. It's when now you open a Tylenol, there's like this plastic film that blocks it. Well, the reason is because of this. It's because people put cyanide in it when there wasn't any anti-tamper device. But even that, it didn't really work out. It would take millions of marketing and many years for them to regain their reputation. The gay bombs were a bomb proposed to make people gay. Now, it's obviously not a real thing, but it was a proposal. It was proposed by Wright Laboratories in 1994. And in 1994, they had a 3-page proposal on how to develop better bombs. The first bomb was a bomb that would attract insects that would attack the enemies. They had a halitosis bomb, which would make people have bad breath. And the last bomb is our famous gay bomb. They would shoot aphrodisiacs at the enemy, and they would fall in love with each other and become gay. It's obviously not a real thing. But that's what they thought happened. The United States Camel Corps. This was an entire military unit composed of camels. And people didn't like camels. They hated camels. You know, camels, when they have an attitude, they would spit in your face. Just like women. That's kidding. But camels, well, people didn't really believe in these camels when they first formed this unit. And a lot of this operational history of this unit was just getting these camels to see if they were useful. They would carry lots of military supplies around the United States, and they proved to be more effective than the horses or the mules. They would only be used in combat once against the Mojave Indians. Afterwards, these camels would be discontinued, sold to circuses and random people, and that was the end of the United States Camel Corps. The Pastry War. The Pastry War was a war fought because of pastry. So in 1832, there's this pastry store owned by a French guy named Monsieur Remontel. And there's this bunch of Mexican officers who enter his store and eat all of his pastry. And he gets really mad, and he demands 60,000 pesos as reparation. Now for context, his store is worth 1,000 pesos. So this is an exorbitant amount. So the Mexican government refuses, and France steps in and says that they demand 600,000 pesos or else they'll bomb them. And Mexico says, no, I'm not going to give you 600,000 pesos. And France bombed them. And Mexico declares war, and that's the beginning of the Pastry War. And at the end, Mexico loses and has to pay back 600,000 pesos and rebuild their entire city. The Delhi monkey attack. The Delhi monkey attack was when a monkey started attacking people in India. Now this figure became very elusive, this monkey, because we didn't know how it looked like. Its estimate was about 4'6" to 5'6". Some people said it had a helmet, some people said it had iron claws. And overall, it was just a very violent monkey just attacking everyone it saw. And the response was that many people in India, especially young people, would patrol the streets with axes, trying to find this monkey and smash it.
Tomorrow night, I'm gonna smash your boy, guys. I'm gonna smash your boy.
And they never found the monkey. But it became this very scary, elusive figure in India. Operation Valkyrie. So Operation Valkyrie was this operation to assassinate Hitler. This operation was effective on July 20, 1944. And the plan was that a briefcase would explode and kill Hitler. So on that day, the briefcase would be sent to Hitler's lair called the Wolf's Lair. And boom, the briefcase would explode. And they would enact Operation Valkyrie. It was about grabbing all these German reserve forces and taking over Germany. But the operation didn't work because Hitler didn't die from that explosion. And Hitler used the Nazi Party to grab all the conspirators and execute them. The Ancient Skull Cult. The Ancient Skull Cult is an ancient religion that revolves around skulls. So there's this site in Turkey called Göbekli Tepe, and over there's just lots of skulls. And in the skulls there's a small hole. And why is there a hole? Well, they used to hang the skulls all around the site. And it was a skull cult. The McAfrica Burger. The McAfrica Burger is a burger made by McDonald's that just didn't work out. This burger was called McAfrica, and they released it at the same time where Africa was in famine. So naming your burger after people dying of hunger, especially since the burgers are food, is a pretty bad idea. And it's also a coincidence, but they could have stopped selling it, but they still continued to sell it. So that attracted a vast amount of controversy for McDonald's. The MILF Liberation Group. The MILF Liberation Group is not MILFs fighting for independence. It's actually just a bad acronym. So MILF actually stands for the Moro Islamic Liberation Front. And it basically translates as MILFs, but it's not MILFs. They're actually a rebel group in the southern Philippines that fights for their independence, since they're a Islamic nation and the Philippines is their Catholic nation. So they want this autonomous region within the Philippines. For many years they fought against the Filipino government and led to many explosions, deaths, but they have recently engaged in peace talks with the Philippines and they have agreed to surrender their weapons. The Fire Lance. The Fire Lance was an ancient Chinese weapon that was half a lance, half a shotgun, and half a flamethrower that was used against the Mongols. So around 1209, the Mongols start invading China. In 1211, they invade the Jin dynasty, and around 1233, the Jin dynasty has this new weapon. It's called the Fire Lance. They use gunpowder and they attach this device on the lance, and they would, when they were doing melee fights, they would activate this fire. It would basically shoot a huge flame of fire, and within the small compartment there were small bullets, and after the fire it would just shoot lots of pellets, and then they could start stabbing people. Yamashita's Gold. This was a hidden treasure in the Philippines that apparently no one knows where it is because we executed everyone who knew about it. So in 1944 there was this general called Tomoyuki Yamashita. And he has stolen lots of gold from all across Asia because the Imperial Japanese were just brutal. They would kill people and they would grab all of their goods and their gold, and they would grab lots of gold that way. And in 1944, Japan was losing the war. It was obvious that Japan was about to lose. So he, along with the Prince Shishibu, decided to begin an operation called Operation Golden Lily, or Kinoyuri. This operation consisted in digging tunnels under the Philippines and hiding all this gold they stole so that they could retrieve it after the Allies would defeat Japan and they would never find the gold. So they managed to dig all this stuff and they hide this gold and they execute everyone who knew about this gold. But afterwards they kind of lose where that gold is. probably because they executed people who knew about it, and this treasure remains unfound. The Spaghetti Tree. The Spaghetti Tree is a documentary made by the BBC in 1957. And it was basically a documentary about a new type of tree, the spaghetti tree. It's obviously not real, but just listen to the story. So in the 1950s, spaghetti and pasta was just very exotic. People didn't know where it came from. So the BBC decided to troll people. They made an entire documentary about trees that give spaghetti. And it was just a documentary about how spaghetti is made. And the response to that documentary was that people were asking the BBC how to grow their own spaghetti tree so they can make spaghetti at home. The Dead Man's Film. This movie was made by a guy who killed people as part of the movie. So there's actual people dying in the movie and there's no stunt actors. So the movie is called The Life of General Pancho Villa. It was made by Pancho Villa himself, and he filmed a movie about his life. And his life involved robbing banks, shooting at Mexican federal forces, and just overall a life of a bandit and a revolutionary. So to make it more accurate, he decided that he didn't want CGI or he didn't want to film fake action scenes, so all the action scenes are real scenes. Sadly, it's the end of this video. Tell me if you like this video in the comments. If you want more, I'll make more. If you don't, then I'll make something else like the dark history of your mom's basement or something, I don't know. So yeah, I'll see you in the next video. And yeah, subscribe, like, comments, leave something, I don't know, comments. Yeah, and I'll see you guys in the next video.